You guys have done it again, right? Judging a motorcycle based on its looks alone, even before you have seen it in person, let alone ride it. Now, many motorcycles have fallen prey to this very same behavior. But this Italian wild child, the Aprilia Tuono 457, is not going to be one of those motorcycles. Here's why. What a mad motorcycle this is. At one point of time, my DOP just told me that the shoot is done. You can just, ride the motorcycle the way it is meant to be done. And it did exactly that. I mean, I've been a fan of Tuonos ever since I rode the Tuono V4 for the very first time. I knew that that is the motorcycle I want to see in my garage. And it is very interesting to say that this motorcycle has instilled the same emotions. I mean, trust Italians to do that. The Japanese motorcycles are fine, they are refined that way, but if you want emotions from your motorcycle, if you want an evoking riding experience, get an Italian motorcycle for yourself, because the Tuono 457 is a true blue Italian in that way. Now, this is just the Tuono fan in me talking heart to you guys, but my job requires to be a little objective as well. So let me spill over all the changes that the Tuono 457 has received over the RS 457. But before we do that, I just want you to listen to how this beauty sounds like. The best sounding motorcycle under 5 lakh? Oh, you bet it is. If you're literally offended by the way the Tuono 457 looks, just a small request to you guys, just Google up all the iterations of Tuonos that have ever existed from the stable of Aprilia and you won't find a beautiful looking Tuono motorcycle. They have always been polarizing, at least on the design front, and the Tuono 457 carries that legacy forward. But there's a very major difference between how the Tuono 457 looks and how the previous Tuonos used to look. Because what Aprilia has always followed regarding the Tuono's design philosophy is that they have carried over this semi-fairing, and even the front headlamp cluster has never been this minimalistic. It was surely a naked counterpart of their RS twins, but they've always carried forward the semi-fairing, and like I said, even the headlamp cluster has always been sort of resembling the RS twins. But here we get an entirely different headlamp cluster, and this has divided opinions, but believe me when I say this, it looks much better in person. Not just the headlamp cluster, the overall design philosophy of the Tuono 457, the way it comes out, it is a very better looking motorcycle. I know even I was a little, taken aback by the way it looks. Once we saw the pictures during EICMA, it was sort of, resembling a TVS Raider 250R. But out in the real world, in person, this thing looks very muscular. Particularly in this shade, if you want to get the Tuono 457, take my advice. Just ignore the red and black shade. I know that is sportier of the lot, but this one looks much better in person. But one of the most major differences that it has over the RS 457, apart from the lack of fairing, you can see the beautiful engine peeking from there and the beautiful aluminum chassis as well. But the major difference comes in the form of a straight type handlebar, which replaces the clip-on units found on the RS 457. But as you can very well see, while the upper body is much more relaxed as compared to the RS, as far as I remember, it used to be like that. I sit much more upright on the Tuono 457. But the interesting thing to note here is the footpeg position, because it hasn't been changed a bit when you compare it to the RS 457. It is as committed as the RS, low down. But the upright riding stance, it brings in sort of a hooliganistic nature to the Tuono 457, which the Tuonos have always been renowned for. Now, apart from the handlebar, the aesthetic bits, there's also one major difference over the RS, and that is the rear sprocket, which is 1 tooth bigger on the Tuono, and that has made a lot of difference in the real world. That will tell you once we get down on the engine and performance bit.
I used to believe this before, and I'm still a very big advocate of the fact that this is one of the most brilliant engines that has ever been produced in a beautiful nation. The entire riding experience becomes so elevated because of this engine, because nowhere in the rev range does it fall short of performance. Aprilia has blessed the Tuono with a bigger rear sprocket, and that has made this even more maniacal in the lower band than the RS457. If it weren't for the traction control, I know it would be popping up its front wheel skywards at every chance it could get. The overall performance graph is very linear as compared to, say, the 390 Duke, but that is the beauty of it. It just keeps on singing a soulful song while engulfing you with its performance. The mid range is strong but is riddled with vibrations. Our particular unit was a burst between 4 to 6000 rpm, and that was slightly concerning. If you seek refinement from your motorcycle, this is not the way to go. However, if you wish to have a motorcycle that makes you smile like a devil inside your helmet, you cannot go wrong with the 457 twins. Aprilia is claiming that if given a long stretch, the Tuono can hit a top speed northwards of 180 km per hour, which is plenty if you factor in that it is a naked motorcycle and Indian road conditions as well. Now, despite having strong low and mid range performance, the Tuono it doesn't fall flat in the top end as well, which is brilliant. Now, what makes the entire experience even more involving is the way how the Tuono rides. Initially, when I was riding slow, it was okayish, but once I started belting it around Nandi Hills, it showed its true naked colors, and boy, oh boy, this Italian lady does know how to own the dance floor. The aluminum chassis is so beautifully complemented by the suspension setup and the tires too. The only aspect where I believe the Tuono could be slightly better is the braking department. For road usage, the current setup works perfectly, but if you're into hardcore riding, you might want a little more stopping power and less fade. That being said, I found the Tuono more flickable than the RS, and not to forget, more fun as well. So fun that I might do something stupid.
Hello, Ramesh sir. Yeah, good morning. Actually, I needed some advance on my salary. How much you ask? 4.5 lakh, almost. It's a family emergency, sir. Please try to understand. I'm in a very, very tough situation right now. He hung up, man. Now I'll have to find either an ATM or a bank to pull off another Italian job. The Tuono 457 is priced at rupees 3.95 lakh ex-showroom. Now that makes it around 25,000 cheaper than the RS 457. Now should it have been even cheaper than that? I believe yes. I mean it would have been, if it would have been priced around the 3.7 lakh price mark, this would have made the Tuono 457 even more appealing than what it is currently. But is it still value for money? Oh yes, baby, it is, because it basically carries forward all the things that we love about the RS. So be it that lovely engine, the super agile aluminum chassis, or the electronics package, it carries forward all the same things that we have loved about the RS, but it presents them in a much more hooliganistic manner because you're sitting upright and you're doing all the things that you do on the RS while sitting upright. And please don't judge this motorcycle by looks alone, because the Tuono 457, it deserves much more than that, and it does look better in person. Now to sum it all up, I love this motorcycle, and it is time to bid you guys goodbye because I have to fiddle around my options that where do I have to secure my 4.5 lakh rupees. If you still have any questions regarding the Tuono 457 left, the comment section is all yours. Just drop them down in the comment section below and I'll answer them once I'm out of the euphoria of riding this Italian beast. Love you, baby.